open the room a little bit early. Anybody take any trades? No, I was kind of more in tune on going through the NEO stuff because that thing is going to be great.
Just quick scalps, nothing too crazy.
That's good.
I took a long on POC up to the
Nice.
Asia low there, so or Asia high, whatever that is, Asia high.
You get crazy. He's gonna bust your ass.
I was already in that short from Neo's guidance when it dropped through the floor, so it gave me my daily limit.
Nice.
Hey Nick,
Yeah.
I'm noticing that if I if I have the funds and I have a 150K account, I appreciate the practice more than the stress level of a 25K account,
Yeah.
and a little bit more room, a little bit less stress. Have I, um, I'm just airing some feedback here. I'm not really. I think I may end up just going with 150. Any insight there, or
I think anything that helps your emotions is good, right? The only reason why going to a 25 is beneficial, right, is because it's a faster path to get money, right, to get paid. But if you're not in a rush, right, you're just trying to make sure you don't break it or keep putting money out or have time to practice, then for sure, um, because you have more drawdown. Now the discipline part of it is you got to make sure that a lot of people tend to go, oh, I'm going to do a 150K because I get bigger drawdown, but then you tend to do bigger volume, right? Because you're like, I need to do twice as much profit or three times as much profit, and so you'll change your volume, right? And if you change your volume, then it's kind of negating the whole thing, right? But if you keep your volume lower and you're not in a rush, right? You're good with taking a week, 2 weeks to pass it, 3 weeks, then yeah, I think it's great. Yep. The 25Ks, I'm just more keen on those when I was doing those. All my stuff is 50Ks because it's just a math, process where, it's a ratio thing, right? If you think about it, like a take profit trader, for example, their 25K I think is the easiest to pass and get money out of because you have a $1,500 drawdown and you only have to make 750, you know, for the day, right, to get the half, and so you have to make half of what your drawdown is. So you have to be right 750 before you're wrong 1,500. Like math wise, that's great. If you take even a 50K on them, right, you go to that. Now it's equal because you have close because you have the $2,000 drawdown, but you got to make 1,500. So you see how it kind of tightens. And then when you get to like 150K, you usually got to make 9K profits. So you got to make 4,500. And I think the drawdown is right. I think it's right about 4,500, isn't it? I can't remember. I haven't done the 150s in a bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's all math, but at the end of the day, man, everything in trading is emotions. So if you're able to control the volume and not adjust it with it going up, on your stuff, then yeah, for sure, because it gives you more room.
my problem I'm having with 50Ks is I have a uh, I have a deterrence of if I let it go drop 1,000 in the moment, I'm not worried about it. But the next day, I'm like, fuck, I'm down a thousand. Excuse my language. I'm down $1,000. God, that's a lot to get back to if I'm slow and steady
Yeah.
on a 150 to 300 a day, and I end up taking more risks two
Mm-hmm.
days after that. um, and it's hard to build back up.
Yeah.
If I'm willing to let go of 1,000 in the moment,
Yeah.
maybe my
Try.
emotions. Maybe I need to restrict it like 250. Maybe I need to cut that back.
Yeah.
I'm not
The
willing to lose
drawdown is
250.
like I said, everything is about whatever you can control emotionally, right? And so, like for instance, me, I won't trade the 25K accounts that my funded or a lot of these other prop firms offer because they're 25K. It doesn't do 1,500 drawdown. It does 1,000, right? And I don't like that because I'm not a big fan when the drawdown gets below 1,000. There's something about when it goes from that 4 numbers to 3 numbers, right? It gets in your head, and I'm just not a fan of it. So I feel like if I take an account that gives me $1,000 drawdown and right out the gate, right, I go negative, I'm instantly already kind of like looking at it going, all right, let me figure this out, right? And so I don't like that. And so you have to, whatever helps you emotionally is going to be the right answer. So, but guys, really quick, I want to go through a couple things. We're sitting at about 9:20. We got market open coming through. Not going to go deeply into the TA because not a ton has changed, even though it feels like it because we had that big old drop yesterday. Guys, we are still in an uptrend. So, our little drop was just a little bleep on the map right here from our crazy uptrend. You can see, without drawing the line, right, we have kind of an internal structural trend right there that it held. I was kind of talking about it in the pre-market. We ended up coming down, right, which was what we were talking about yesterday, and played out well. Man, it was just nice to see some bearishness for the first time in forever, which is great. So this was our deepest sell-off that we've had pretty much since the push. I think this one was arguably close, right there. So since we've had the push, it's pretty much the deepest sell-off that we've had, which is great. So might be finding a top. We'll see how market open treats this because my concerns is as we came down, we didn't get low enough to test these lows, but we did breach these highs, right? You can kind of see where we bounced right in this area was also some other pivotal highs. So we did come down, retest those highs like I thought. And then we reclaimed, yesterday towards the end of the development session, I mentioned that there's a good chance we're going to bounce and come back up and kind of rest below there, which we did, which was cool to see. Asia took the ball and ran. They wanted to go up and set it down. So now we're looking at this on the 1 hour. We're starting to get a little bit of a breakdown here, right? So if we get a close below that 202, it's going to sweep down back again, right? If we end up pushing up and we get a close above that 402, right, we're going to push north. So I'm going to probably use some structural lines, some trend lines, things like that. Typically when we do find our top, right, it likes to oscillate a bit. I still think we're going to get to this line at some point. Could be a chance that we do a down, up, down, up, down, up kind of situation, right? And then test the line for either a pop or a drop. So we'll see how news hits. We had the PPI hit today. The market didn't react well to it. We dropped pretty decent. And then I just heard, I guess Trump's over at in China talking. So be careful whenever he's over in those kind of events, right? All it takes is one quick thing.
Yeah, don't worry. It'll be a pump event.
Yeah, right.
If he's in China, it'll pump. When he gets back, it'll dump.
Right.
You won't talk bad about him into their face.
Yeah. So the only thing I do know for certain is a lot of times when we do get an all-time high like this and we get that deep sweep and then we get the push, if this does fail to create that higher high and we get a full collapse back into this area here and we some reason break through here, right? I mean, the fall is going to be crazy, right? But I don't think we're quite there yet unless news suggests it. I would probably more so expect, for us to kind of do some kind of ranging However, again, news is news, right? So if for some reason we end up kind of holding these levels as support through open and we smack that, there's a good chance, that we can come up and breach that. So you want to be really careful, chasing some things today. We got about 7 minutes for open. I wanted to share something with you guys, which is really cool, and I'll touch on it after we're done as well. But it was a very, very late night last night to finalize a few things that are really, really exciting. And so the first one I'm going to talk about before we get into open is when you go to the website, we ended up, I was able to push the trade, our trading course, right, that we just completed. So when you come into our trading courses right here on the left, I do have the ICT course up now. So you can go through and take that. For those that are in the mentor group or the VIP, it's free. Anybody else, I think it's like $30, right? So it's not that expensive. You can go in there and take it. So it's a really, really good course. Do recommend it. I have a few more advanced type courses that I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks, which is I think going to be really, really good for people. So the other thing that's really exciting, we had a little bit of fun playing with them this morning, is we are really close to finalizing our TradeVision. So TradeVision, as I mentioned, is going to be kind of a 3D model. NEO right now is kind of floating. We were up till real late last night. Alex was up to almost 2, and it's a lot of work to do this. And so eventually here, probably pretty soon, his hands will move, his head's going to move, his mouth's going to move, everything, right? Like he's talking to you. Nice little sphere in the background here. But you can actually come in here and talk to him. So we were kind of messing with them earlier. And in TradeVision, this is going to be like your trading partner, right? Whether it's identifying, entries, exits, DCA stuff, stop outs. He's going to guide you through stuff, trades, ask you a lot of questions. We have a lot of logic I still have to add to him. He has access to all of the data bank stuff that we have, but there's some strategies and ways that I teach that I want to add there, right? But it was kind of fun to play with him. He's your emotional support AI as well. It was really, really funny. So when he goes in and introduces you, right, or when you hit Start Neo, right, he's going to recognize you as the let me make sure. Yeah, I still got the sound. Whatever your profile name is in your profile. So watch.
Welcome back, Nick. I know the temptation to keep trading after a big win is huge, but finishing your day on a high note is one of the most powerful habits a professional trader can build. Are you going to walk away and secure that win, or are you still feeling the itch to see if you can catch another move?
So we were talking about some bad trades, and then we were talking about how I had a really good trade, and he's like, that is a big profit trade. I think I told him I made like $600 or something like that. He's like, you should be done for the day. And I'm like, no, I want to overtrade. He goes, Nick, that is a terrible idea. It was so funny. And guys, in the beginning, I was basically acting like I was a terrible trader. And so I went into my profile name, just curious, and I put in, worst trader ever, just to see if he'll call me that. And I ended up coming back to here, and I hit start, and it goes, welcome back. I'm not calling you that. I prefer to call you Nick. I think it's a terrible idea to start off an emotional habit by calling yourself the worst trader ever. I was like, oh shit. It was so funny. So, but you hit the start. He's going to do his thing.
It sounds like you're still debating whether to keep trading, Nick.
See how I can come in and out?
Just to lock in your success and call it a day, as there will always be more opportunities tomorrow. Are you ready to close your platform and celebrate a disciplined win, or is there one more question on your mind before you wrap up?
I don't think I'm going to take any more trades, but I do want to just kind of get some candle chart time and study. Maybe you can help me with that.
Studying the charts after a win is a fantastic way to learn without the pressure of having money on the line. Since you've already identified your structural levels, we can look at the price action from the last hour to see how the market respected or broke those points. Do you want to walk through how price interacted with that POC level earlier, or would you rather look for other examples of structural traps that occurred today?
I'm kind of thinking about still taking a short, because every time it creates a bullish pattern on the micro level, it seems to invalidate, but I know I'm not going to take a trade. I'm just going to kind of pretend that I took the trade for practice. What do you think?
Practicing with paper trades after a big win is a great way to sharpen your skills without risking your capital. By observing how those bullish patterns fail, you're training your eyes to spot the difference between a real reversal and a trap. Since you're acting as if you're in, keep your rules identical to your real money process. Do you want to note down exactly where you would enter, set your stop, and set your target for this paper trade?
So what? Watch. Let's see if I could get him to. He kind of. I feel like he almost raised his voice at me earlier. Like, hold on. Oh man, I just made a mistake. The market started to dump, and I just ended up hitting the short button in a panic mode. Now I'm in this short, and I'm negative like $300. I don't know what to do.
Nick, stop. You need to close that position immediately. You just demonstrated why we don't pretend to trade while sitting at a live terminal. The emotional pull is too strong. You are panic trading because you aren't following your own rules, and holding that position is only going to make your emotional damage worse. Do you have a plan to exit this right now, or are you going to keep watching the P and L bleed out?
Watch. I'm just gonna. I don't know. It's bleeding out. I keep adding volume to my position, and it seems to be getting better, but this could get really bad fast. I'm not sure what to do. I'm kind of panicking.
Nick, you are currently in a dangerous spiral, and you must stop adding volume to this trade immediately. Every second you hold this position, you are increasing your risk to an uncontrollable level, which is exactly how traders wipe out their entire account. Your immediate priority is to close the position and walk away from your desk, no matter the loss. Will you exit the trade now so we can stop this damage?
Yeah, it just closed because my account broke. I might just go buy another one. I don't know. Maybe I should take a break.
I am sorry to hear that, Nick, but that outcome is exactly what happens when discipline breaks down. Buying another account right now would be a huge mistake because you are trading from a place of desperation, not skill. You need to step away from the charts entirely for the rest of the day, maybe even a few days, to reset your mindset.
You put me
Will
on
you promise
timeout.
me you will stay away from the platform and not purchase another account until you've had a real break?
Okay, I promise. We got market open,
That
so
is
we'll
a
kick in.
difficult promise to make, but it is the most important one you've made today. Giving yourself space now prevents you from making a much larger mistake later. Use this time to review what triggered that panic entry so you can build a stronger defense for the future. Can I count on you to reach out to me here before you even think about opening your trading platform again?
Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and kick him off here, guys. Just a little glimpse of it, but it's pretty cool, huh? Like he'll start getting mad, man. Earlier I was like, oh, I just jumped into this, and he goes, this is why I've been trying to tell you to wait for candle closes, because you don't want to just jump into trades. If you're going to continue to do this, you're likely going to continue to get wrecked. Do you like throwing money away? Like, it's just, I mean, he almost gets kind of mad at you. It's funny, like, you're not listening. But guys, that's kind of what we've been working on this. He's going to be your kind of real-time guidance right throughout the day. I have a lot of logic I need to jump into, later today and kind of through this week. But right now, you guys can't get into him. But I'm expecting maybe by the end of the week or latest, early next week, we can push this thing live, and so it's going to be awesome. People that are in the mentor or VIP, you guys are going to get them for free. Anybody else that wants them will have to subscribe. But again, the goal behind him is going to be, to create kind of a trading partner, right? Whether it's emotional, trading advice, as far as like guidance of the market, levels, trades. He's going to ask you for, what your volume is, what your, targets are, what your entry is, and try to guide you through, right? And so that way you have somebody to talk to, right? And even if it's just talking you off the ledge. So, but yeah, pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, man, pretty cool.
Good deal, guys. Well, we have market open. Doesn't look like market open's doing anything crazy. We just did a little drop here. Volume's low. I have a suspicion the volume's low because they're trying to determine, right, are we going up or are we going down? I don't think people really know right now, right? So there's a lot of concerns I have. You can see the POC on the 5 here that I have is holding support from there. came down to retest it and is trying to bounce. If we breach that, the fall is going to just be nasty, right? So when you look at this structure on the 5, we had a push with a kind of a parallel little bull flag kind of look, and we broke down, right? And so we're seeing some bullish patterns start to break down. So, but we are getting further bounces off that POC area. So we just kind of need to see, you know, are we getting any deep swings? And honestly, guys, when I was sitting there talking to Neo, I was kind of watching the ticker. I didn't even realize it was 9:30 because the market wasn't really swinging like it normally does, right? And so just be careful on that stuff there. Let me yeah, I do see that on there, John, on the color thing. Yeah, I have to go through that. For people also, let me mention that for those that are watching Neo, playing with the TradeVision, we're making him personal and ask questions and all this stuff, which is great. But somehow that bled into his thing. So he, at the end of his statement, he's asking questions, right? Like, would you like to review how to use the breach wick to confirm the validity? You know, that's going to be something that if you have those questions, right, and you have the subscription or your ability to get into the TradeVision, right, you can ask him those questions directly from that. So a lot of cool things to come, guys. A lot of good stuff. So let's get into some trading here, and then once we're done, if you guys want to stick around, right, we can kind of play with Neo a little more on the TradeVision, and you know, if you guys have questions about that, but it's going to be awesome. I think it's literally going to be what is going to help so many of you guys when it comes to identifying entries, and you know, just kind of managing a trade altogether. So let's look at this. Let me make sure I got all my times set. Yep, we're good. Okay. So we currently on the market, guys, you can see we ended up opening with a drop. We didn't even get a push. We are holding support right at our 15-minute 200 EMA and kind of right where our lows were. So not really showing that we're going up or down, right? So your cluster, as Neo would say, of indicators, right, or your moving averages is right here. Safer play would be to get a breach through here to get the close, and then you can ride that thing pretty far down probably. If we end up getting a breach by chance up through here, you do have a little bit of overhead resistance. We are below our prior day high, so the likelihood for me would be typically more short than long. You know, again, yesterday to me was a very big tell, right? It was the first day that in a bit that we actually had a really decent bearish play, right? So I'm expecting that to try to continue. Asia tried to push us up, you know. What I want to see is, you know, as Asia kind of pushed us up, EU tried to hold it, came into our kind of kill zone. We pulled that, we pre-market push, and then now we're market opening drop, right? And so for me, most likely, I'm still looking for more shorts. I'm not likely looking to chase a ton of shorts, you know, but if I can get, you know, some quick scalps right within, you know, I think we'll be really good. So let's see how this holds here, guys. If we get this close, or do we get a little jump here? We haven't seen any kind of swing high at all from the this push, right? And so, you know, from the market open. So as of right now, it's just very bearish from it. So let's see. Do have a little bit of a trap area here. Next area down there is 174, the prior ORB. Typically we broke into the prior day ORB, so a lot of times it does like to come down to this level, so 144 could be where we're headed. The down pressure is definitely still more bearish than bullish, and we're getting a sell there. Neo saying long none. He wants a short at 270 following a confirmed retest, so he doesn't really want to do a continuation. He's saying he would rather you short if you get up to 270. So he wants to see this thing pull up, right, into this range, and then a rejection, then take a short. So he didn't seem to like a continuation there. And so I'm going to let Neo talk when he does his updates, and we'll just kind of interpret them as they go. So I'm going to unmute him. You guys can bring up your Neo. I have it on my left screen just so that way people on the social medias can see it a little easier, but those of you guys in the room already know. You can bring that up as you want. So, but we're getting this continued pull. The bearish pressure is still pretty strong, guys. We're getting our close. Again, target, if we stay below on the micro, that 200, right, our target's going to be that 144 is where it's looking like it wants to sweep. But we're still within that 15-minute range, opening range breakout, so we can jump. So be careful. You can look for little things to start to establish, right, like a little trend line on the micro, something like that. And just see if it keeps the strength, right? Do we continue to get these lower low closes with that flat top? If we do, continuing down to target. So I got a 618 here at 175. What else I got? Nothing on that one, nothing on that one. We got the POC. So a prior high right here is going to be 185. So, which is why we're likely bouncing right there, somewhere in that area. And so any kind of bounce from there would be a hold of this prior high. If it reclaims that 221, then we'll get a decent push up, right? But we did break through our little cluster of averages with some decent strength. We do have a gap fill up here at 245. So for us to get a deeper pull, we got to get below kind of 184, 180, something like that, right? Which is right where the micro stopped. See that? So you could probably take a little line there if you like the visuals. Kind of put something there, right? That's where we want to get below. So we got a little bit of a structure break. The bulls are trying to push a little bit. So let's watch the DOM and the order flow. Indicators are still very sell. We did get a sell in the 5-minute as well. So for me, you know, it's better if you can get that breach and close below, right? Then that's a good continuation to take. Anything short of that, like Neo said, it's better to wait till you get kind of a push up into this area and then get a rejection. Is ideal. So. I think I unmuted him, didn't I? Yeah. Here, you should be reading it here soon.
The market is currently in a strong, accelerated bearish trend, with price pushing well below the 5-minute EMA 200, 29,281.4, and showing consistent downward momentum as sellers maintain full control. Sentiment. Bearish confidence. 5 out of 10 reason. Price is in a clear, aggressive bearish alignment, trading significantly below all key short-term moving averages in the 5-minute EMA 200, which now serves as a strong overhead structural ceiling. Concerns. We remain in a pre-event state regarding the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. The velocity of the current drop is high, which increases the probability of a sharp, volatile consolidation or a snapback move as we approach the news release. Long entry option.
He's going to keep doing the news release.
Short at 29,210.0 following a confirmed retest and rejection of the 1-minute LISMA, 29,227.69. Targeting 29100.0. With invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,235.0.SUMMARY. The bearish structure is firmly established and accelerating. Given the aggressive momentum, we are focusing on a retest and rejection setup at the 1-minute LISMA to join the trend, while maintaining a disciplined, flat posture during the build-up to the PPI data. Would you like to review how to identify if the current downside velocity is approaching a climactic extreme before the news?
So, again, guys, ignore the question that he's doing. That was part of the TradeVision that we added in there, so he's feeling the need to ask questions. And then we're still fine-tuning this whole news thing. So the good news is we've tweaked it to where he's still not... he'll take a trade, right? And you can see here's his advice was to short at the 210 if we get that confirmed rejection off of that LISMA, which we didn't get, right? We ended up pushing up. And so he's going to do this question and he's going to keep mentioning, you know, the pre-event. For whatever reason, he still sees the event as coming, even though it's been passed. And so we're still trying to fine-tune the whole news thing, right? You know, with him. So we're getting really close. So we had another push-up, guys. So this was actually, if you look at his prior guidance, right, he said he wanted a rejection around that 270. So we're starting to get that rejection. Where this pull comes down to is huge. If we breach through this stuff with a close below, it's going to dump really hard. If we end up, you know, pushing and getting this halfway reclaim with another, you know, DOM kind of style bounce north, then we're going to see it, you know, have a pretty deep inverse with it. So, ooh, look at that candle. Sweep. See that halfway reclaim and jump? Crazy. This thing is going bananas. We got a little more action there than we did in the other one. The actual other push. Let's see. So we got a nice little absorption to the south here. He still doesn't like longs whatsoever, which is a good idea as of right now. So we're trying to see if we're going to hold that halfway and jump or come back. A little bit of pressure. We got that absorption to the south though, which doesn't usually scream jump, right? So let's see how that treats it. Nice little pull. So we're breaking that low.
The market is currently undergoing a local consolidation following an aggressive decline, with price trading just beneath the 5-minute EMA 200, 29,280.59, and the 1-minute LISMA, 29,225.82.
Yeah, I see that rejection right off the 248 is pulling us, guys.
4 out of 10 reason. Despite the recent green high Kanashi candle, the structural trend remains firmly bearish, as price has failed to sustain a reclaim of key levels and continues to trade well below the 1-minute EMA 200, 29,313.68. Concerns. We are in a pre-event state regarding the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report, which often triggers significant volatility and can invalidate technical setups. The 1-minute LISMA currently serves as a dynamic resistance point, while the 5-minute EMA 200 provides a broader ceiling for the bearish move. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,240.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1-minute LISMA, targeting 29150.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,260.0.
We're breaking lows, guys. We're pulling.
The bearish structure remains dominant, but the market is currently in a high noise consolidation phase ahead of the news. I recommend maintaining a disciplined, flat posture and only seeking shorts if a clear rejection of the resistance levels occurs, prioritizing capital preservation over chasing the move lower. Would you like me to explain how to interpret the 15 seconds LISMA slope to gauge whether this consolidation is likely to break to the downside?
You guys see this bearish pressure is strong, guys. Please don't try to capture the bottom on a long, because we can go much further. But there's going to be potential bounces in between, so just be really careful. Anybody in this short just trailing?
I hit my quick TP already. I'm not trailing.
Yeah, I've taken a couple.
Hit my TP too, actually.
I just came back and sat down for making coffee and I missed it. So that's okay. There'd be a move up.
Yeah, you're good, man. There'll be another one. Yeah, so we got a good chunk to go, guys, because we're breaking through some critical stuff here. So we could bounce somewhere in here, 060 to 100, 102. A reclaim of 186 is going to go pretty violent, but I'm seeing a lot of sell pressure, not really the buy pressure. So let's see if we want to keep that pressure going. just been scalping this on the way down, guys. This is the only, stay short I was kind of talking about with him. So still got a long way it can definitely go, guys. So do not try to grab this bottom yet. If you're trailing it, good job. But the 29058 is an area that can bounce. If we shatter through that, guys, it's coming down. If we shatter through that. But we have pulled pretty good for a little bit, so there's a chance we could get a little breather bounce here, so be careful. So this is kind of the moment of truth area for me. Let's put a little line here. Let's throw it just so you guys can see the visual. That's going to be where we want to be careful. So as we're approaching it, right, it's not, even with the quick TPs, we're getting into an area, you got to be careful. So old Neo does it again, though, man. He said he wanted to take a short on a rejection of that 270. We got to 272. And then he said your entry would be 210, which would be right here. So if you were patient on that call, played out perfect. So if you are green or you've been shorting this, good job. I would strongly suggest that you don't try to capture this bounce. Although yes, we can bounce. I mean, it's typical for us to smack things like this, come up and hit the ORB, come up and test these lows. But you're playing with fire, right? Because if we break certain levels down here, man, that thing could just really go. So we want to see some kind of actual clear positioning. Maybe we wait for Neo, right, to see if Neo wants to take any of these longs. But as of right now, it's a long none. We don't want to capture every move. So put a thumbs up, guys. Is everybody green? Did everybody stay short on that? Hopefully nobody was in the long. All right, sweet. Let's sit on the sidelines. Hey, we can
The market is currently in a state of high velocity bearish expansion, with price pushing significantly below the 5 minutes EMA 29,279.13 and the 1 minute LISMA 29,207.17, indicating that sellers are currently in full control of the directional flow. Sentiment: bearish confidence. 5 out of 10 reason. Price is exhibiting a strong, aggressive downward structure, having broken cleanly through all major short-term and macro support levels, with all indicators aligning in a bearish configuration. Concerns: we remain in a pre-event state regarding the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. This extreme downside velocity typically precedes a period of exhaustion or sharp consolidation, making it essential to wait for a meaningful structural retest rather than chasing the current price levels. Long entry option: none. Short entry option: short at 29,150.0 following a confirmed retest and rejection of the 1 minute LISMA, targeting 2900.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,175.0.SUMMARY. The bearish momentum is currently at a climax. While the trend remains strongly downward, the discipline is to wait for a technical retest of the broken 1 minute LISMA resistance to provide a high probability entry point, keeping risk managed ahead of the upcoming news. Would you like to review how to identify when a climactic downside move is likely to lead to a temporary bounce?
Yeah. And you can see, right, that's why I was saying be careful chasing it, because as we come into these areas of support, right, for us to come up and retest these ORBs and things, I mean, yeah, you could grab long scalps if you're doing tight TPs, but man, they're just so risky. Sometimes it's better to let this thing pull up and then take the rejection back, right? Because you're going against not only the order flow, the momentum, the trend, everything, right? You're trying to get a little micro scalp, right, against the momentum of what the market's showing. So it's better to just let it go and then pull it back. So we can let me put on Neo here. Hold on. Let's see.
Welcome back, Nick. It's good to see you're keeping your word by checking in before jumping back into the fray. Since you've had some time away, how are you feeling today? And are you ready to discuss the specific habits that led to your last account exit?
You guys can hear him, right?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Okay. I want to keep. I want to ask him.
That's awesome.
I'm thinking about taking another trade because the market is finally open in US Open. We had a big swing down and we're getting a little bit of a bounce, but the macro still looks southern. So what should I look for before I take a short? Oh, I didn't hit the microphone. Dang. Hold on. The market just opened. I'm going to look for another trade, but I'm going to wait for your guidance. It just had a really deep move south, and it's reclaiming a little bit, testing the ORB. What should I look for before I take an entry?
First, since the market just opened, we need to respect the high volatility of the first 15 minutes and wait for the dust to settle. Looking for a reclaim of the opening range breakout or level is a good strategy, but you need to see a confirmed, sustained move and a hold above that level before considering any long entry. Don't rush to chase the move just because it's bouncing. Instead, wait for a pullback that fails to make a new low, followed by a confirmed push that clears your macro resistance. Are you seeing price show a clear series of higher lows yet, or is it still just chopping around that orb level?
No, it dropped pretty good, so where it bounced, it looks like it's coming up to the prior low and it's going to reject. I'm more interested in probably taking shorts because the macro momentum is actually southern, so I was kind of thinking of waiting for it to bounce a bit and then show a rejection. What do you think?
That aligns perfectly with the macro bearish trend. Nick, playing with the trend rather than against it is how you keep the odds in your favor. Waiting for a bounce into a level like a prior low, which now acts as resistance, is exactly the push into resistance and rejection setup we look for. Ensure you wait for that confirmed rejection candle rather than jumping in while it's still pushing upward. Once you see that clear reversal signal, what is your planned invalidation point if the price decides to break through that resistance instead?
I was thinking of not really entering until I get a red Heikinashi, at least on my micro, that shows some kind of absorption, but it looks like it's pushing through that prior low, so I don't think I want to enter a short quite yet. Should I look at possibly taking a short when it gets up to the previous high and rejects, or what do you think?
If it's pushing through that prior low, it is showing strength against your short thesis, so definitely don't force it here. Patience is your greatest asset. Waiting for a deeper push into a clearer area has reclaimed the 5-minute EMA to a much higher 29,276. When price reaches that higher level, watch for signs of exhaustion, like wicks on the upside or a failure to push further, before considering your entry. Are you planning to watch the price action on the 1-minute chart to confirm that potential rejection once it gets there?
My plan typically for my strategy is I watch the 1-minute chart to decide on when to enter, but I watch the 15-second chart to give me a little bit of an earlier read if it's rejecting. I'm looking for like hammers or invalidations, so it's starting to reject a little bit off of the 15-minute 200 EMA. So I'm thinking of it. Oh, I stopped talking. I got to put a little more delay on there. Have Alex do that. Let's see.
Using the 15 seconds time frame for micro confirmation is a great way to fine-tune your entries, but always make sure those signals align with your 1-minute and 5-minute structural bias. If you're seeing a rejection off that 15-minute 200 EMA, ensure the candle has actually closed and is showing weakness before you commit. Remember, a hammer or rejection wick needs to be followed by a move in your direction to be considered valid confirmation. Are you seeing that follow through now, or is it just sitting there at the level?
No, that's great advice. Actually, I saw the hammer start to form, and I got a red Heikinashi close below it with a flat top on my 15-second. The 1-minute and the 5-minute also are in line, so I'm in this short now, and I'm in profit trailing it. Oh, I think it stopped. Yeah, we got to add a little more delay on that, because you got to talk continuously or it pauses.
That flat top on a red candle is a classic sign that sellers are stepping in and holding the price down. You've got your confirmation, so if you are in this trade, your main focus should now be on managing your risk and letting the move play out. Where are you planning to put your stop loss, and have you identified your initial target based on the nearest support level?
I did. My target would be to come all the way back down to about 29,100, but I just have my break even set just a little bit above my entry.
That's a smart adjustment, Nick. Locking in a break-even trade this early keeps your downside at zero, which is exactly how you protect your account while giving the trade room to hit that 29,100 target. Just make sure you don't trail your stop so tight that a minor, healthy pullback knocks you out of a winning position. Are you seeing the price maintain its momentum, or is it starting to hesitate near any intermediate support?
Yeah, it's starting to hesitate a little bit. I trailed it a little too tight and it stopped me out. I'm green pretty good, but dang, I wish I would have held that because I could have made so much more money.
That's the trader's regret talking, Nick, but remember, you banked a profit and kept your risk at zero. Taking money off the table is never a mistake, especially when you are building the discipline to avoid those account-breaking panics. Instead of focusing on what you left on the table, look at how you followed your rules to secure a win. Are you going to take a moment to reset, or are you looking to jump right back in for another scalp?
So isn't it kind of cool, guys? Like again, once we fine tune it, he's in beta. You guys should be able to get him here pretty soon. I got to do some things with Alex. We were up late last night to get it working, but guys, eventually my goal is I want you guys to be able to trade and have this guy on the side, and you can just literally kind of talk to him like, hey, this is going up. Right now, I don't think he sees the true market data because we just got him barely operational on this part of it last night. But eventually he's going to see the market data. He's going to, you're going to say, hey, I'm looking for a short here because it's coming down, or maybe you're saying, oh, I'm going to look for a long, like, man, I'm just waiting for a kind of a bounce, and he's going to be able to look at it and go, hey, based on what I'm seeing, we've got bearish pressure and we're below a lot of stuff. If you go long here, you got a pretty risky stuff, right? Like, we want to make it to where he's kind of your little coach, right? On-demand coach. You can ask him anything you want, questions-wise, right? So, like, even if you have a question about something, I can sit there and say, I'm just curious. I'm not sure. Does it mean something when I got 4 green candles with all flat bottom, but then I have like a hammer that's a red Heikkanashi that pulled back? I don't know that that's an actual drop. To me, that looks like it might be strength to switch long.
That's a great observation. Those 4 flat-bottom green candles show strong buying pressure, but the red hammer candle suggests the sellers tried to push back and were immediately rejected. In our methodology, this is often interpreted as a bullish absorption or a minor pause, as the sellers failed to sustain any downside momentum. If the price then holds above the low of that red hammer and breaks the previous high, it is a strong signal that the buyers are regaining control. Are you seeing price break above that high, or is it still struggling to push higher?
It seems to be struggling. The price right now is internal on that hammer, so I probably should just not keep a bias, and if it closes above that hammer, go long. If it closes below it, go short. What do you think? Stumped him on that one. Alex is going to be up here soon. He might be working on him. He's going to shut him down for me. Then I'll lose my toy.
That's a very disciplined way to look at it. When price stays internal like that, it means the market is compressing and waiting for a clear winner. Waiting for a close above or below that range is exactly how we confirm a breakout of microstructure. It keeps you from getting caught in the chop while the market is indecisive. For example, if price closes above the high of that hammer, it shows the buyers have successfully defended that level. If it breaks the bottom, the hammer has failed and the bears are back in charge. Just be patient for the actual close to avoid getting caught in a fake out. Are you seeing any major levels or indicators nearby that might block a breakout in either direction?
I love this for watch. Yeah, I got the close below and it's actually dropping and it hit my take profit. Instead of trailing it, I decided to just set a take profit that's a little tighter to secure a quick profit. Man, that's my 3rd win today. Maybe I don't suck at this.
That's fantastic work. Congratulations on the winning streak. Securing profits when you feel the market momentum shifting is a sign of good discipline, not luck. It sounds like you're successfully identifying your exits based on price action rather than just hoping for more. Do you feel like your confidence is improving now that you're hitting your targets?
I do. I think I'm done for the day. I'm just going to walk away and enjoy the day. I'll check back in with you tomorrow.
That is the smartest move you can make. Walking away while you're ahead is how you protect your gains and stay in this game for the long haul. Enjoy your time off, and I'll be here ready to break down the charts with you tomorrow. See you then.
Pretty cool, huh, guys? What do you think? We on to something? Yeah, I think, like I said, man, I think sometimes we, as traders, we just need that, emotional support, Neo, right? And It was so funny earlier in the mentor one. I was like, man, like we were talking about breaking accounts and all that, and he's just like, if I'm just gonna go buy another one. He's like, you need to stop right there. He's like, you've already sabotaged enough. He's like, walk away. Like, I think it was that, it might have been in the beginning of the session, I forget, but yeah, he will definitely not just tell you what you want to hear, right? If you're trying to force something, best thing to do with him, man, is just be honest with what you see, what you're thinking, and let him give you advice, and then take the advice, right? And by the time we push this live again, he's gonna have real data. He's gonna understand DCA logics, entries, all that stuff, and take profits, targets, directional bias. So he can give a lot of really good advice from within that, right? We're having it where he actually types out what he says. One, so you can read it, and two, because we want to eventually have it where I can ask him like, hey, I'm starting to really like trading, like whatever, is there any training courses that I can do, right? And he can go, well, we have this ICT course, or we have this whatever course, or maybe if he identifies that you're getting stopped out a lot, right, he can suggest to say, hey, we have a lesson 8 risk management course that you can take. I think this might help you understand a little bit on stop losses and things like that, right? So he can give you that kind of continuous advice, which is really cool, for you guys to have. So, but yeah, it's going to be awesome, man. This is one of the cooler things that I did not expect to be this far with the AI, like at all. And so it's really cool to see that we are where we are with it. We didn't even expect to allow him to do buy and sell signal type stuff until June, right? And here we are, still beginning of May, right? And he's out here now giving full trading advice. So it's pretty cool stuff, man. We're expecting, provided nothing goes wrong, I would expect, probably it's Wednesday, depends how today's session goes when I talk to Alex, but our hopes would be to maybe get this guy out for people by the end of the week or maybe next week. It just depends on a good amount of variables. So, but guys, we're seeing that pull kind of giving it a little, kind of a little bull flag kind of look right there. But let's see if we get any kind of push through this or we can reject, right? So you can see we have our prior low right there. That's why we're very indecision here. And it's retesting the Lisma plus it's retesting the RB, right? So are we going to reject back down or are we going to burst through this and come through? That's kind of what the market's trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck in a trash can here.
Yeah. Yeah, but right now, guys, that as far as those that I know have been forever long, right? There's not a lot of. We're getting some good bounces, right? But it's not really showing crazy strength yet. It's showing more weakness than strength, right? Because we're losing highs. See how we lost this high here? 188 is just a pivotal one because it's this resistance. So if we continue to reject there, right, we're going to sweep pretty hard again. So, however, if it can reclaim it, right, then the bulls will finally show that they got a little bit of strength back. So they are trying to fight it right now. I'm not really seeing it in the DOM, show a lot of strength, guys. From within. So we want to look at the micro part of it, and so you can see, right, we're getting the hammer. So close above here would push us. Any kind of close below there is going to drop us. So we got our prior low. Let's see if we get this breakthrough down, or do we want to get this breakthrough back up? So we're still getting cells on there. Let me, I'm going to unmute Neo here so we can kind of keep interpreting his advice. Anybody in trades that needs advice, or how are you guys doing? If you guys want to post your P&Ls up there.
I'm just wondering when to enter a short here.
So the best way to do it, I mean, old Neo would give you that advice, right, is when you are looking at it here, right, we know there's support there. We know that we're dojing like crazy off of an area that should fall. If you're doing quick scalps, right, any kind of quick scalps from here isn't bad, knowing you have to stop out if you get above it, right? I had a couple that I took, but the safer play would be right? When you look at this, we have our low here, but we're kind of channeling. If this channel breaks, it's going to burst north. But the DOM is still suggesting more southern, right? And so the better thought, whenever it gets into these positions, right, you always want to kind of like let it push up a little bit and then, you know, try to take that range back down. You could see the close there, right, would give you another kind of quick scalp to the back. But if you end up hitting that and bouncing, right, it could be bad. But one thing I would definitely not do is not be long, right? The pressure, you can see the overall DOM pressure just as a whole, you know, is consistently trying to pull, right, pull down. And so, you know, trying to take a long here would be really dangerous. So, but it's getting into a sticky area for shorts, right? Because we had a deep drop right there that did reclaim that low, but then we lost it, right? But any kind of higher low held here will push. So you got to kind of revert back to the DOM and see, you know, are we getting jumps? Are we getting drops? To me, the bears are still winning. You know, any kind of bounce that we've had has been more what I refer to as the old dead cat bounce, you know, like Neo says. And so when you look up, you know, here we want to see, are we going to hold that higher low, or are we going to actually breach this to get our lower low? Now, from a macro standpoint, right, anything that stays below our 188 is bearish. We're coming down, right? Anything that stays below 240-ish, right, that kind of that 248 area is definitely going to drop pretty good. So my thought when we were talking about it in pre-market is that we're going to range today, meaning that we would have a drop, a push, and then a drop, right? Now, how low that drop goes, I don't know, right? Because if you think about this, as bearish as this looks, why I'm kind of a little bit hesitant is when you look at this, we had a deep push. Let me mute the indicator so you can see. We had a deep push followed by a pull, right? Now we're testing these lower levels of
The
support.
market remains in a steady bearish trend, with price
we'll let
trading
him talk.
below the
I don't
1 minute
know.
Lisma, 29,175.41, and the 5 minutes EM 8200, 29,274.54, confirming that sellers continue to dictate the directional flow. Sentiment. Bearish confidence. 4 out of 10 reason. The structural trend is clearly bearish, supported by a sequence of lower highs and lower lows across the 1 minute and 15 seconds timeframes, and price maintains a consistent distance beneath key moving average resistance. Concerns. We remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. While the momentum is bearish, we are entering a zone of potential liquidity-driven consolidation where the market may attempt to trap short sellers before the news. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,175.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1 minute Lisma, targeting 29080.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,190.0.SUMMARY. The bearish trend is active, but we are prioritizing patience. We are waiting for a technical retest of the 1 minute Lisma to provide a high probability entry point, ensuring we avoid chasing price into potential pre-news support levels. Would you like to review how to identify if the current price action is forming a bear flag pattern, which often precedes another leg down?
Again, guys, ignore the pre-event part and the question. When we were pushing the stuff with TradeVision, it kind of bled over, I think. So we'll work on that when we get off of here. But if you look, we got this push, right? We're just parallel channel, man. So we're just in a very tricky zone, right? Because like I said, we have the push here. As you pull back, this is our halfway liquidity, right? Right at support. If this continues to tap, 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 and holds, it's going to jump, right? But if we break below kind of that 056 area, right, with this low, there's just not a lot holding it up at all. Like you can see, it's just straight down. So definitely not an area that I would be eagerly looking for longs, but I think shorts also, unless you're setting up a low volume kind of play, right, are risky. So at least in this area here. So let's see. I think most of you are pretty green too. So if you're pretty green, you don't want to push it too much here. I just saw your thing on that, Brent. My TradeVision's been fine. I haven't had any issues with it. See, it's getting a little bit of buy pressure, but see if it can break it this time, or are we gonna pull? So it wants to push. Moment of truth here. See if we get any kind of rejection off that 200. Five-minute is dojing. The only thing that's very interesting to me is we have the 5-minute coming down. We have a hammer that broke below. We did end up sweeping hard. We have absorption back into another absorption kind of to the north there, into a doji, into another absorption. So we're getting a lot of buy pressure below that POC, right, from a macro side, which is very interesting. So we got to see how this treats this little break it's trying to do above the ORB here. So I like to look at these prior lows, 200, and see if we get any rejection there again. If we do, it's going to come all the way back down. If we don't and we reclaim that, we're going to get a good jump. Now the 200 is all the way up there, so it's very possible, right, for us to do. So we're getting a little rejection. So NEO wanted the short at 175. What did he say? Short at 175, following a confirmed rejection of the one.
The market is showing a localized
EMA.
attempt to reclaim the 1-minute Lisma, 29,166.88, but it remains trapped beneath the significant structural hurdle of the 5-minute EMA 200, 29,273.9, keeping the overall directional bias bearish. Sentiment: bearish confidence. 3 out of 10 reason. While price has reclaimed the 1-minute Lisma, it is still trading well below the 1-minute EMA 200, 29,273.19, and 5-minute EMA 200, which act as formidable overhead resistance clusters. Concerns: we are in a pre-event state regarding the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. This dense resistance zone creates a locked profit path for any bullish setup, and the proximity to the economic data release makes a sustained breakout highly speculative. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,190.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1-minute EMA 200 area, targeting 29100.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,205.0.SUMMARY. The market is struggling within a tight, resistance-heavy consolidation zone. I recommend remaining flat, as the structural setup lacks the clear path needed for a high-probability trade ahead of the upcoming news. Would you like to review how to identify if the current price action is forming a bear flag pattern before we get closer to the news release?
Yeah, poor Alex was up late, so it might take him a minute to to correct that. But we're not giving up on that news thing because he's at least not scared to trade around it. But trying to get him to recognize, right, that we're past it has become a little more challenging than our original hope. But we'll get him.
I actually like it. You know, I've seen the evolution of it, but it's, you know, we're putting faith into an AI, and so it's just, those are just subtle reminders that he's here to protect our capital. So
yeah.
I kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I just want him to, the parts that he's stuck on is the recognizing pre-event versus post-event, right? So like if he's saying, hey, we're in a post-event state regarding that, right, then that would make sense, right? But for some reason he's getting a little mixed up when we talk about the pre and, you know, the posts. And so but yeah, no, love it. So see where we keep rejecting, guys? Right on that same low right here. We're just rejecting off that, which is also right there, right? The prior high. We don't get above 89, guys. This is going to dump. But if we can somehow hold and get above 89, this is going to pump. So, but we are getting a nice little channel there, which is likely to break down more. Let's see what kind of pressure we're getting. Still got a lot of bearish pressure, guys. See that drop? Still not quite screaming to the moon. So we're testing on our level there, starting to break down. Again, like I said, this pressure and the structure lining up is more southern than northern, but let's see what we get. It's a critical area because just kind of the visual, guys, if you take this right here, this is the channel that it's trying to break out of, and so it's trying to hold it. If this can hold the support, we'll get another jump, but if we end up reaching that, right, then it's going to collapse. It's kind of funny. Remember, guys, in the mentor group in the pre-market, we were talking about that. My thought of us doing this like kind of range today, and so we're kind of in that range, man. It's like they're trying to decide, do they want to come back up and test this thing, or do they want to just send it down, right?
The market is showing a renewed bearish shift, with price dropping below the 1-minute Lisma, 29,158.19, and remaining trapped under the significant resistance of the 5-minute EMA 200, 29,272.43. Sentiment. Bearish confidence. 4 out of 10 reason. Price has failed to hold above the 1-minute Lisma and is trading well beneath the broader 1-minute and 5-minute EMA 200 levels, confirming that sellers have regained control of the short-term structure. Concerns. We remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. This environment is inherently unstable, and the proximity to the report means price action could consolidate into a tight range before the news-driven volatility hits. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,165.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1-minute Lisma, targeting 29080.0. With invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,180.0.SUMMARY. The bearish structure is once again the primary driver, following the failed attempt to sustain a move above the 1-minute Lisma. I recommend exercising caution and waiting for a clear rejection of resistance before taking any short positions, as the pre-news environment remains prone to unpredictable whipsaws. Would you like to review why the 1-minute Lisma slope is currently a better indicator of momentum than the candle color in this specific market state?
Yeah,
Looks like we might get the close.
yeah, it's trying to push.
He, for some reason, can't say summary all of a sudden.
Man, so there's and I'm making mental notes slash putting things in there, but yeah, as we continue to mold him into various places, right, it definitely tends to mess a little bit with the speech of things sometimes. So we're in the fine-tuning process, but yeah, that's the frustrating thing about AI, and I don't envy what Alex has to deal with on it, because he'll say something right like 100 times and then all of a sudden say it wrong 10 times. It's like, how do you to fix that, right? It's crazy. So you guys can see the microstructure. We had the push here. That retest is what's pushing us. So let's see how high we can get it. We did reclaim that area. Remember the whole hammers here. We got reclaimed that low there. It is pushing, so we could potentially get a push up to here around 277. It's going to be the 5-minute Lisma, the 200 EMA, 5-minute 200. Like there's a ton of liquidity up there. It looks like it's trying to get. So the prior high is the 226, which is what it's kind of chasing. We do have a gap fill down here. So maybe we get a little rejection there or here to come back down to kind of smack that gap fill. I just want to keep seeing the oscillations, man. You guys know me. I love the oscillations. Just keep giving me a little up, down, and we're good. Let's see what it wants to do with these prior highs here. So we're definitely getting a little renowned bullish pressure coming through. So we're coming into VWAP, I think that is, yeah, VWAP. Bounce off our confluence there in the 382. The 5 minute there, we invalidated all of our 15-second that was trying to hold it. So 248, that's gonna be the moment of truth, guys. We're either gonna hard reject there, somewhere between 248 and 260 in here, or it's gonna burst through. So be careful chasing any longs. If anything, you're gonna want to look for a potential short play, but I want to see some kind of weakness, doji, pullback, sweep, order flows, some kind of, orders coming in to the sell side, right?
May reject off the 200 as well.
Yeah, and 248 is going to be a big number, guys, because like I said, that is this area here that it's got to get into for it to be a really big push north. So if it stays below that, it's going to drop hard, but if it can somehow reclaim that, right, here's the
market has aggressively reclaimed the 5 minutes EM at 29,271.87 and is currently pushing through the 1 minute EM at 29,265.68, signaling a significant, albeit volatile, shift in short-term bullish momentum. Sentiment: bullish confidence. 4 out of 10 reason. Price has achieved a confirmed reclaim of both the 5 minutes EMA 200 and the 1 minute EMA 200, with a bullish 15 seconds EMA trend and positive slopes on the 15 seconds LISMA, indicating a strong localized breakout. Concerns: we remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. Furthermore, the 5 minutes LISMA 29,278.76 currently sits just above the price, acting as an immediate resistance hurdle that must be cleared and held to sustain this bullish expansion. Long entry option: long at 29,285.0 following a confirmed breakout and hold above the 5 minutes LISMA, targeting 29350.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds below 29,260.0. Entry option. None summary. The market has mounted an impressive recovery, clearing major structural levels. While the bullish momentum is encouraging, the presence of the 5 minutes LISMA as an immediate overhead barrier and the impending PPI release means we must remain disciplined and prioritize trades with a clear path to expansion. Would you like to review how to identify if the current bullish momentum is being driven by news anticipation or by genuine structural buying?
So we're getting a little bit of sell pressure, right? So see how it's testing that 48, guys? If it can't, if it can't hold above this with any kind of steam, it's going to tap, 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 and then we're going to get that pull to the gap fill, right? So if you're looking for, any kind of plays, I would prefer to see this thing come through here, breach wick there, give me a close somewhere into there, right, to kind of target that low. But right now the DOM is still pushing pretty good. So it's going to be a big test as to whether it can get through this 200 is mostly what it's looking. So let's see if we get a rejection. This is the next test of it. The gap fill itself is sitting at 276, right? So chance we could reach, do a little breach wick before that does that. And then if we get any absorption from that, it'll tell us if it's coming back or not. A little bit of bearish pressure, you see that? Pushing down. little micro double top. This is going to be big because if we end up bouncing again, right, then it's going to jump pretty hard. But if it comes through and breaks that, then that's our double top, right, pulling down, which it should pull down if it double tops there. So let's see if we get any bounce here, because this is our VWAP, right? We got the break down, but we want to see that actual collapse. Now we did also on the 1 minute get a nice good absorption candle, but we're hitting our trend line. So we need to close below there to get our pull back to the ORB there. So just keep watching the order flow and see what kind of pressure is coming in. So you can see the micros trying to invalidate that already on that bearish structure there. So let's see how it pulls. Watch the DOM. A little drop there. Another drop. So we get a third one. So the bearish pressure is trying to come in. Question is, right, are we going to breach this with any kind of steam, or is it going to try to bull flag here? So 1 minute is doji now, so we have absorption to the south and the doji. Close below there is going to be a strong pull. Close above there is going to be a pretty strong push, right? Still got 5 minute Lisma. You got to be careful of. Getting a pretty good pull from it. Finally breaking the view up. Let's see if we get the 1 minute close though below. Right now it's just double doji. The buy pressures.
The market is currently struggling to maintain its recent gains, having slipped back below the 1 minute EMA 200, 29,264.72, and the 5 minutes EMA 200, 29,271.64, signaling a return of bearish sentiment. Bearish confidence. 3 out of 10 reason. Price is trading below the key 1 minute and 5 minutes EMA 200 levels, and the flip of the 1 minute high Kinashi candle to red indicates that the recent bullish recovery attempt has failed to find sustained support. Concerns. We remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. Furthermore, the 5 minutes Lisma 29,274.60 acts as a stiff overhead resistance, blocking the path for a bullish move, while the current price action remains highly volatile due to the news-driven uncertainty. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,245.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1 minute EMA 200 zone, targeting 29150.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,275.0.SUMMARY. The bullish reclaim has been rejected, and the market is reverting to its bearish trend. Given the structural congestion and the impending economic data, we remain flat to avoid the high probability of a whipsaw before the news release. Would you like to review how to set up an alert for a clean breakout or rejection of the 5 minutes EMA 200 to help you stay ahead of the volatility?
No. Again, guys, we got a little minute bull flag kind of played right there, but it didn't create that high. We didn't even breach wick that. That does not show a lot of strength. So for this to collapse would not surprise me, but see how we ended up breaking it right there. We didn't create a breach wick, and so that causes an inverse. So that's, now we have a flat top on the 1. If that can hold and we can get that close below, that's going to be your deep pull. Right, now macro wise we're still flat bottom until 212, right? So macro doesn't support that yet, but
I'm just concerned that it keeps holding on the 9.
Yeah, to me it had a good bullish continuation opportunity that so far has failed. So let's see, there is still a little bit of a trend like that, right, that we kind of watch. So it doesn't really fail until we get below that, but the 1 minute is looking like it wants to pull to come back to this liquidity, the gap fill. Just watch it. So we're still above that trend, right? Kind of got to close like right at it. We didn't quite get it below it yet. Oscillator's coming down. We got a 15-second trap south, which played out, and now it's trying to do a trap north. So one of those is going to invalidate. The 15-second one's always going to throw them a little bit more often. So I'm just kind of watching the DOM. Right at the 200, we have a big stall out, which is expected. We just don't know which way it's going to break yet. So it hasn't confirmed yet. It's very interesting because we're getting little DOM jumps in an area we should not be getting DOM jumps, right? Which is why we're getting this pressure. But then all of a sudden we get a DOM drop also, right? So it's kind of a, you know, area where they're in this spot where it's almost just like a battle, man. It's crazy. So we did get our kind of doji here. We did get a pull with the sweep of the low. Now we're pushing up, so it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't try to sweep the high. We're still below or above that structure, right? So even though we had the kind of the collapse, we still stayed above, so it didn't get the full collapse. See, there's the sweep of the high. Now this is big, right? Because if this sweeps up real far, right, and we start to hold that as support, man, we're above everything. So it's going to just go more north than south. But if we end up sweeping this high and sweeping back down hard, right, then it's going to have that inverse and go the other way.
The market has reclaimed the 1-minute EMA 29,263.85 and the 5-minute EMA 29,271.22, signaling a short-term bullish shift as price currently tests 29,276.25. Sentiment: bullish confidence. 3 out of 10 reason. Price has achieved a confirmed break and hold above both major 200 EMA levels, supported by a bullish 15 seconds EMA trend and a positive 15 seconds LISMA slope. Concerns: we remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. Furthermore, the 5 minutes LISMA 29,269.66 and the rapid approach of the news window make any breakout vulnerable to sudden reversal, and there is minimal room for profit before encountering further structural resistance. Long entry option. None short entry option. None summary. While the structural reclaim is technically positive, the proximity to the PPI release and the lack of a clean profit path make this a low probability environment for new entries. I recommend maintaining a flat position and observing how the market stabilizes after the upcoming news data. Would you like to review how to identify a clean path for expansion beyond these EMAs once the PPI data is released?
Getting some good pressure north here, guys, but let's see. Not really buying it yet that it's gonna hold.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, it's tough because, like I said, we got the swing low, we got the, getting that swing high, right? I want to see if they come back and kind of raid it back south, and then we got gap fills down here that just are real accurate. And usually when we breach wick our 5 minute, it tends to like to pull back a little bit, right? And so be careful trying to chase the long. If you want to look for a long, guys, I would recommend maybe wait till you get above this high here, 300 or so, and then look for those entries there to try to play that back up, right? But then you're running a risk of you're still below this downtrend, on the macro, right? You still got this downtrend here. So sometimes it's better off, if you want to stay with the bias of what the trend is kind of doing, right? Just wait for it to kind of settle. This is actually very similar to what you'll see in the ICT course, right? Where you get that compression, you kind of get that sweep, and then you kind of rate it, and then it'll displace. But so I want to see how this plays. So 248 is going to be big. We know we have a gap fill there. For us to come down and smack that would make sense. If we lose that, it's going to come down pretty hard, guys. So, but the safer play would be if you get the close below there, it's likely going to squeeze pretty decent. If you get a close below this area there is where you'll get some really good volume that way. But see how we're getting this pressure, guys? So moment of truth here. This is kind of what I was anticipating when I said, you know, we got a sweep of the low for us to come up and sweep the high, right? To set up kind of that bull trap makes sense. So, and then now a lot of people put their stop loss right there, right? So that comes down, smacks the stop loss, and then it can decide what it wants to do from there. It's just nice to see after a week of, you know, the market going just crazy one way, right? It's nice to see it doing what it's supposed to be doing again. So far. So let's see if we get that deeper pull. Should create a lower low from there. There's the low. See the low? Isn't that crazy how that works? So now that we swept that low, right, to hit all those stop losses, it's got to decide. Is this going to be kind of a sweep here, kind of, push north, and then we're going to, displace back south, hit these stop losses, and we're going to continue? Or is this a stop hunt and then we're going to go back up, right? That's what it's got to decide right now. So that's why this right here is just a stop hunt. That's the lower low I was kind of expecting. If you look on the 15-second, we always like to get those breach wicks, rear back, and then close below. That's going to give us our deeper pull, right?
The market has retraced below the 1-minute EMA 229,263.55 and the 5 minutes EMA 229,271.3, signaling a failure of the previous reclaim and a return of bearish momentum. Sentiment: bearish confidence. 4 out of 10 reason. Price is trading below key moving averages, and the 1-minute Heikin Ashi candle has turned red, confirming that the short-term bullish attempt was rejected at resistance. Concerns: we remain in a pre-event state for the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. The 1-minute EMA 200 and 5 minutes EMA 200 now serve as a combined overhead resistance cluster, creating a significant blocked profit path for any potential bullish recovery. Long entry option. None short entry option. Short at 29,255.0 following a confirmed rejection of the 1-minute EMA 200. Targeting 29150.0, with invalidation if price pushes and holds above 29,275.0.SUMMARY. The bearish structure has been reasserted following a failed breakout attempt. With the overhead resistance cluster and the PPI news pending, we remain flat and disciplined, avoiding the risk of news-driven whipsaws at these technical levels. Would you like to review how to identify a failed breakout versus a healthy pullback?
Just making a little note so we can look at the vocabulary. Not only summary, for some reason he hates that word now, but I noticed he started saying the short as well. The SHORT. So we'll take a look at that, guys, once we get off. So cannot wait to kind of finish up some of the fine tuning. It's gonna be awesome.
So we got a short right, dude. They entered I don't know, as soon as they hit the stop losses, so I guess I set a bad entry.
Yeah, well, it's tough, right? Because when you enter it on the open wick like that, you don't know, right? We don't know if it's a stop hunt or is it going to be a continuation play, right? And so that's why a lot of times if I want to jump in kind of quickly, I at least want to go to the micro side and wait for that kind of breach wick close below, and then you can take the quick scalp. But we'll see on how it goes. I mean, it's kind of trying to form a little bit of a head and shoulder over here. Where it's bouncing is not surprising. It's just it's trying to decide, right? Are we going to end up pulling back down? We do have a gap fill down here, so it suggests that it should pull more back down, but it's just going to depend, right? Those gap fills, the way that these play, I mean, they could take a bit to play out. So, but this is our moment of truth here. Are we going to hit this 200 and reject, or are we going to the moon? Again, I would prefer a rejection just because I want to keep seeing this market oscillate This is a better market for the way that we trade. The directional play is not my favorite. So let's see if we test this. We are getting a good amount of bullish pressure. So if we do break this, the high is going to be 304, right? Any kind of rejection around 295 to 304 is going to be pretty significant. If we break through that, guys, I mean, it's pretty directional. So when you're looking at your drawdown on that, you know, we do have a gap fill here I didn't even see. You know, you got to be prepared to, you know, allow it to go up to there, or you're going to have to stop out above these highs, right? To not kill your drawdown too much. But let's see if we, as of right now, right, we did just kind of a stop sweep, kind of push, and then we had this sweep of the low for the stop hunt, and then now they're trying to push it back. So, but we still have hurdles like the 5-minute Lisma, right? That's on the 5-minute side is acting very wicky. So let's see if we get another rejection here, or do we end up pushing? Because we're definitely not out of the woods yet, as far as for the bulls, that's for sure, even though it looks strong. So this rejection is big. I want to see where it pushes again. We want to get at least halfway to there. Any kind of bounce from here or above is going to tell us how much strength that has, right? Anything that breaches below that is going to tell us that they're not quite as strong as they're leading on to be. So 15-second does have a trap to the south, but the 15-second one, like I said, isn't going to be as strong. But let's see how that plays out. Whenever it gets up to here, I just get surprised if it doesn't.
The market is showing a volatile reclaim of the 1-minute EMA 29,263.13 and the 5 minutes EMA 29,270.73. Though price remains tightly compressed beneath the 1-minute anchored VWAP 29,294.10 and the 5 minutes Lisma 29,266.87, indicating a high noise environment. Sentiment. Neutral confidence.
I'll be back one sec, guys.
2 out of 10 reason. Price is oscillating around a cluster of EMA 200 levels in the 5 minutes Lisma, creating a dense resistance zone that limits directional conviction. Concerns. We are in a pre-event state regarding the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time PPI MOM report. The structural overlap of key moving averages just above the current price creates a blocked profit path for any potential bullish follow-through, while the lack of clear expansion suggests this could be another failed reclaim attempt. Long entry option. None short entry option. None summary. We are currently caught in a technical no man's land, with heavy resistance sitting just above the current price. With no clean path for expansion and the PPI report looming, there is no high probability setup. Staying flat is the most disciplined approach until we see a definitive structural break post-data. Would you like to review why a cluster of moving averages often leads to a period of consolidation before a major directional shift?
Yes. Did Neo say we're going to the floor or the moon? I want to have him say terms like that. We are going to the moon. That's how I felt like the last 2 weeks, right? He could have been like, close your eyes and press long. That's how it felt. Guys, see how we keep rejecting? Now it's trying to find this pivotal area of that 248. It is 10:46, so we're getting really close to our development session. Then we got to go start, and I'm trying to keep those on time, even though we end a little late each time. So I'm going to drop off of the YouTube here, guys.